Police, emergency.
Yes, my daughter's gone missing for the past 3 days. She is in a relationship with the guy. She's been stopping at his place. I have been around there, and the place is in darkness. It's not like her that I can't get in touch with her. I am so panicky and scared.
Face.
Oh my God. She's in here. There's blood all over the place.
West Midlands Police have discovered the body of 32-year-old Marlene Doyle at a flat near Coventry city centre. With the body removed for post-mortem, forensic officers Rachel Hughes and Nigel Keeling can examine the crime scene for evidence.
When we attend a scene of a murder, there's a lot of pressure on forensics to find out what happened. Time is of the essence. The first thing, obviously, we need to establish is how she's been killed. Is there any weapons that have been left behind? Anything like blood-stained clothing? So we've got like a lounge diner there.
Looks like a spare room.
Lots of stuff strewn around. Although we've got a room that's in kind of disarray, it doesn't appear that there's been a search or anything.
No.
Could it be a burglary that's gone wrong? Has anyone forced entry? Could it be that they've let someone into the premises that they know? All those things you need to eliminate to establish what has happened and find a person that's committed this murder.
The floor looks quite clean, isn't it?
Yeah,
Can't see anything obvious.
There's no footwear marks in blood or anything that's apparent straight away, is there?
No. There's obviously no drag marks or anything on the walls.
Next, they examine the bedroom where Marlene was found.
She was obviously here, wasn't she? There's a large pooling of blood on the bed. I think it goes under. Oh, good grief, yes, look. It's gone straight through the mattress, into the base.
Marlene was found with significant head injuries. From that, you can actually see that blood hasn't moved in any way. It's kind of pooling underneath where she's lay. There's nothing to indicate at all that she's left that area or put up a struggle or a fight or anything at all, which suggests to me that she was asleep in bed at the time of the incident. Or she's actually with someone that she knows or someone that she feels safe with.
Whilst the forensic search of the crime scene continues, the case is handed to the homicide team to investigate.
OK then, Andy, what do you know?
Well, essentially we've got a deceased female, Marlene Doyle. Her mother called us to report severe concerns for her safety. She'd not heard of her for a number of days, which is really unusual. Officers have gone round, forced entry, found Marlene deceased in a bed with quite clearly severe facial injuries. It's a guy called Patrick Skopinski, his flat, a boyfriend of hers. We've secured the scene and we've set the post-mortem for tomorrow.
OK. So we've got Patrick outstanding. He does live there, but he's not there now. He's not reported anything to us.
No.
So that's suspicious in itself. So the priority is we find Patrick and we make sure that we do what we need around the forensics police.
Yeah, absolutely.
A manhunt is launched for Marlene's partner, Patrick Skupinski.
Acting with urgency is vital in a murder investigation. Marlene was a young woman who had lost her life in the most horrific way. The fact that she's been reported missing for 3 days, we're already playing catch-up to some extent, really. Evidence could quite easily be lost, which makes forensics vital.
With a potential suspect at large, forensic officers look for any source of DNA evidence that may identify the murderer.
So we've got cigarette ends. We've also got a couple of drinks vessels that are opened by the looks of it.
Yeah.
We can just do swabs of those. When you have something that potentially comes in as a domestic murder, you've still got to be able to rule out the fact that there isn't a third party involved.
And the windows.
The window's secured.
All secured, isn't it?
There's no other way that they've exited that bedroom other than coming through this hallway. The actual front door that's been forced, you can see that the lock is still in the lock position as well, which indicates that...
So whoever's done it has locked the door behind them and gone?
Absolutely. So it's either someone who's got legitimate access or legitimate access to a key, or has picked up a key from inside the flat. The problem you face is when you've got a suspect that lived there, their fingerprints will legitimately be there, their DNA will be there. So what you're trying to do then is link the suspect to the actual murder itself, as opposed to just linking them to being in there at some point in time.
A search recovers items that may be relevant to the investigation. A blood-stained hoodie, mobile phones, and the victim's clothing. They will be sent to the major crime lab for forensic analysis. Officers searching for Patrick Skupinski
This one.
believe he may be hiding at his mother's address on the 10th floor of an apartment block.
It's the police, open the door!
Just 1.5 miles away from the crime scene.
You don't enter the door, we're gonna force entry, open the door! Show me your hands.
Hello, it's Patrick here.
Come out, here we go, just come out. Out the way. Is Patrick in the house?
Please don't Patrick.
Lads, stay with them. Police officer, taser, show yourself!
Police officer! Not about
Go on.
He's here. He's on the balcony.
God, call me in here. God. Patrick, will you unlock the door for me then? Patrick, will you come and open the door?
No.
Why not?
I think I wanna go this way.
Well, can we talk about it?
No, too late.
What's too late?
Push me.
I don't want
I'm scared to do myself.
Well, nobody wants you to do that. Your mum's here. She doesn't want you to do that. No, don't do that. If I offer you my hand, will you come in?
Jesus. That's it. Good man.
Hello, matey. Come on. Just put your hands to the front, pal.
Listen to what Macaulay says.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything that may harm your defence. Anything you do say, maybe you never do.
Threatening to throw yourself off a balcony, it is suspicious. However, it's not a crime to hide from police or not want to talk to police. It doesn't prove that Patrick was responsible for Marlene's murder.
Take a seat, pal.
Patrick Skupinski is taken into custody.
You're gonna have to come with us.
Yeah.
Along with his mother, Hannah, who is suspected of harbouring him.
Hello there, you all right?
A police drone operator reports seeing Patrick throw an object off the balcony before his arrest.
So if he dropped something really close to the building, there's a chance that something could have been down there.
In a search, officers retrieve a metal peg from the ground below the flat.
Why is he trying to discard an item? Is that our murder weapon? We need to get that forensically examined as soon as possible.
How long have you lived here for, mate? In the UK?
Since 2005. Don't speak a word of English. No. What's she in for? Assisting offender and murder.
Patrick's clothing is seized.
Right hand, 4 fingers like that for me.
And his fingerprints and DNA are taken for forensic examination. With the suspect in custody, Rachel calls detectives with the results of the post-mortem.
Homicide team, Andy Wareham speaking.
Hi, Andy. The post-mortem results come through, and the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. There's nothing on her hands, no defensive wounds at all. That can sometimes indicate that it's been done by someone that knows them. On the examination of the hyoid bone, the bone that is in the neck, there is 1 fracture to the left side and 2 fractures to the right, caused by forceful compression of the neck. These fractures show features that indicate that they happened 4 to 10 days prior to the death.
Right, OK.
So I wonder whether there's been sort of an escalation of things over a few days, really, prior to Marlene dying. But the post-mortem results didn't come back with regards to an actual date of when the death happened. The reason being that we've got a few days in between the last time Marlene Doyle being seen to the date of she's actually discovered by the police.
The date of death is massive for us to try and work that out.
Without a time of death, detectives are no closer to knowing what happened to Marlene in the days she was missing.
Unfortunately, we do deal with a lot of domestic murders. It can start with bullying, controlling coercive behaviour and escalate, and a lot of it can go on behind closed doors. With no witnesses, to prove a domestic murder is quite difficult. So the time of death is very important for the investigation.
A check of custody records reveals this is not the first time Patrick Skupinski has been arrested.
Patrick's got 6 previous convictions, the most recent being in 2013, where he was convicted of a Section 18 wounding against his ex-partner. And interestingly, he attacked her in bed.
OK.
From a house-to-house perspective, we spoke to the flat adjacent, who says that she hears upstairs lots of shouting, lots of stomping around, and it kind of paints a picture as to how frequent, I suppose, this is.
OK. Nanette, if you can start to think about interviewing.
Yeah.
Patrick's our main suspect. It's his flat. There's a history of violence. Marlene is dead in his bed. We really need to get him to account for himself.
We are aware that you were in a relationship with Marlene, that relationship had been going on for some 2 years. Would you describe your relationship with Marlene as a volatile relationship?
No comments.
Would you get angry with one another?
No comments.
What would be the reason for your arguing? Would there be one specific thing that would set it all off? Was money an issue? Jealousy?
No comments.
Marlene has been found in your flat with significant head trauma.
Can you tell us the last time that you saw her?
No comments.
If you did not do this most heinous of crimes, Then tell me who did. Tell me where you were.
No comments.
With Patrick refusing to speak to the police, forensic evidence linking him to the murder will be vital. The coat he was wearing when he was arrested is examined for blood.
We hold a lot of hope actually on the clothing that we've submitted. If the victim's blood is identified as being on the suspect's clothing, it could link them to the incident of the murder.
The areas with a cross, they're marks of blood. They're areas of interest, which the lab will then take swabs from.
The blood distribution on clothing is really important. You can get a splatter of blood where someone's been impacted and the blood has come back on the wearer. So it can tell us that a person was wearing that item of clothing when the incident happened.
The swabs taken from the blood-stained clothing will be processed and sent for DNA profiling. Bloodstains at the murder scene may also prove crucial to the investigation. Blood pattern expert Andrew Palmer is called in to examine the flat.
So there's a fair amount of blood in here. Yeah, let's look at this one.
Blood pattern analysis is a scientific method we can use to help determine the events or actions that have taken place. Are there indications of where the assaults happened? Can we say how many blows have been struck? Whether or not there's indications of blood from more than one person.
So we're gonna have a look at the bed. So heavy staining on the mattress. See these spatters here on the wall, predominantly going away from the bed. It's just the size of them. You don't expect bloodstain that size to travel that kind of distance. So if she'd been hit multiple times in quick successions, it could explain that, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Not very high, but they're quite small.
This is a blood spatter pattern we call blood forcing spatter. Lots and lots of tiny spots and spatters of blood caused by a blunt object hitting into wet blood.
The directions all come back to that large area staining. Looks like she'd been beaten. Some blood sprayed across the bed, some sprayed upwards into the wall. There's no evidence of the victim moving about the property after she's been bleeding.
Blood's quite a viscous liquid, so what you find is that the more and more force you apply, the smaller and smaller the droplets that are generated. Some of the droplets we found were absolutely minute, spots which were in the region of maybe 0.5 millimetre in size.
If you can do the headboard.
Yeah, and some photos.
Yeah, some photos, yeah.
The blood pattern analysis indicates that the weapon that's been used to strike Marlene is a smaller object. At this point, it looks like it's a small, blunt, heavy kind of implement that we're looking for.
The metal peg that was reportedly thrown by the suspect at the time of arrest is sent for forensic examination.
Good. Yeah, that's very corroded. Just have a quick look with this light first. So some of the stains are more like shining.
If blood is identified on the metal peg, that comes back to being our victim. Straight away, there's a possibility that that could be the murder weapon. And there's a chance that the offender could have left their DNA on this metal peg where they shed their skin just from handling it.
There's just so much corrosion on it that's got this red-brown colouring. So there's a chance any of it could be blood, really.
Rust can actually give the appearance similar to blood, so we do run tests on it just to establish whether it is rust or whether it is blood.
So what I'm going to do now is rub a felt paper over different sections, just as like an extra check.
A fast reactive chemical test can detect the presence of hemoglobin, the protein used by red blood cells to carry oxygen. If blood is present, the liquid will turn blue or green.
Interesting. There's a slight reaction. It's coming up a bit there. But the colour's not right. Yeah, it's all negative. That it's not a blood-stained item.
Hi guys, just going to run through a timeline on the board if that's all right.
With initial forensics providing no link between Patrick and the murder, detectives need to find evidence to pinpoint the likely time of Marlene's death and the suspect's whereabouts.
The last time anybody spoke to Marlene on the phone is on the evening of the 15th at about 9:30, and that was father. Marlene's reported to us on the 19th by Mum reporting that she's been missing for the last few days. She's been trying to get hold of her, can't get in contact with her. 20th, Marlene's been found deceased. I'm assuming she's died between the 15th of Jan and 20th. We don't know when. So I'm just keen to get us all out there and get as much CCTV as we can.
Patrick's our main suspect, but we don't have any witness to this crime, so we have to build evidence of who's responsible. Establishing when Marlene was killed is vitally important to rule Patrick in as a murder suspect or not. At this stage, we've got a 5-day window when she could have died. So, is there any CCTV in the block of flats? Or on the residential street outside, which could establish Marlene's last movement?
Hiya, it's West Midlands Police.
Hello there.
Sorry to trouble you.
And who was in the flat at that time?
That's the hard drive from the camera opposite.
CCTV footage from 163 cameras covering the local area has been retrieved. Specialist CCTV coordinators Beth Weir and Andy MacDonald begin a forensic search through hundreds of hours of material.
CCTV is a crucial part of a murder investigation. We'll use a technique called profiling. So we will look at the people that pass that camera. We will look at the distinguishing features that they hold as a person, including height, build, ethnicity, gender, facial features, to identify who they are. There is no room for error.
I've started going through the footage slowly and trying to record every single person that goes in and out of that address.
What's also really challenging about this investigation is knowing that where Marlene is living, it's a communal entrance and lots of people come and go at that time. It will have to be viewed in real time to ensure that we get the correct comings and goings from that location, that we don't miss anybody.
What I want to try to do is split the footage up between us so we can try to get through it as quickly as possible.
If detectives can establish when Marlene last entered the flat, it could help to identify who she was with at the time of her murder. While CCTV is analysed, testing for DNA continues on items recovered from the crime scene to establish who was present at the flat.
Saliva is a very good source of DNA. The good thing is that when you have a drinks container, you have the small grooves on the tops of those surfaces, so they actually contain the DNA and retain it quite well for us.
The results are processed and sent to Rachel Hughes.
OK, Andy, so if we can just get up to speed with where we are with regards to all the things that we've sent off and that we've got results on. So we didn't find anything in the bedroom or in the lounge that we could say was the murder weapon that was used on Marlene. The cigarette ends were in the ashtray that was on top of the bed next to Marlene when she was found, and there was a couple of drinks vessels in the bedroom. All of those have come back to Patrick or Marlene, basically.
OK.
There's nothing at all to intimate that there's any other third person that's left those behind there. The profiles are to both of those individuals, no other person outstanding as far as we're concerned. We haven't found any DNA profile or any fingerprints of anyone else being in that flat. But I'm concerned that at this stage, forensically, we haven't got anything that's pointing towards Patrick as being there at the time of the incident. So it's really important to narrow down the time of death and focus on the CCTV to put Patrick in that flat when Marlene has been killed.
Andy?
Yeah.
I think I've got movements for Marlene.
OK.
I believe that this is her. She's picked up on camera on the 15th.
CCTV analyst Beth has spotted a person resembling Marlene Doyle on Saturday the 15th of January, 5 days before her body was discovered.
She leaves and turns to the left. This is at 10 to 5. We've then tracked her down the post office. It's there really that you see. This is the victim. She's got dark coloured trousers with a lighter coloured stripe down each leg.
Yeah, it's certainly consistent to the trousers recovered from the crime scene.
Yeah, so she's now carrying a carry bag in her left hand. And then you can just see her making into the picture. And this is approximately 7 minutes past 5. So she's out for 17 minutes. This is the last time we see her going on CCTV. Security light comes on, you can clearly see the bag in her left hand.
It's certainly consistent to the person we've just seen.
As she approaches and walks up the walkway towards the communal entrance. And this is the last time that the victim is seen.
We know from CCTV that the last time that Marlene was seen alive was on the 15th of January. But that doesn't mean that she was killed on that day. It's vitally important that we find out, did she use a phone? Did any family or friends speak to her after she's seen walking in for the last time?
The mobile phones seized from the crime scene are sent to digital forensics for analysis. But before any data can be extracted, they must first be made secure.
So we put it inside of this Faraday box to make sure that it can't receive any signals. This means that it can't be wiped remotely.
A Faraday box stops any interference from signals or any tampering, basically, so retains the evidence within the phone.
So all we're going to do now is just put it into flight mode, and then once the handset's in flight mode, we can remove it from the Faraday box.
Patrick Skupinski's phone is not amongst the devices recovered. But one handset, registered to Marlene, is sent to a data recovery specialist to analyse.
The good thing is now with phones, we can actually track people's movements that would help with regards to a time of death. It's going to be important to work out when Marlene's phone was last used.
Enhanced software is used to analyse the phone's activity on the 15th of January. when Marlene was last seen alive.
We've extracted the data from the victim's phone, so we can see all of the user information, we can see all the system information. And we're trying to determine the last time it was powered off and how it was powered off. So if I do a search for power off, that'll search across all of the files in there and return any results that match those keywords. We've got 2 results. If I open that one up now, the phone is creating a file storing times of when the phone's powered off.
The user information of Marlene's phone shows that it was not regularly powered off.
So the last time that it was powered off was on the 15th of January at 23:49:32 seconds. And the reason listed there says user requested, which would indicate that somebody has physically interacted with that device and pressed the power button to turn the phone off.
Now the CCTV analysts know the exact time that Marlene's phone was switched off. They can narrow the focus of their search.
This is it. So it's the beginning of this one is when he comes out.
A man is spotted leaving the flat, just 20 minutes after Marlene's phone is powered off.
Build-wise, height-wise, that could be Patrick. But then, around 20, so about 11 or so minutes later, we've got that person coming from the left-hand side, but they're with somebody else.
Okay.
Now, they go into this side entryway, but I don't think they get in. So they've sort of disappeared from view momentarily. This is them coming out now.
Oh, so they're there.
So they're there for like a minute, if that.
CCTV shows the man thought to be Patrick leave the area with an unknown male out of range of cameras.
CCTV, it's not always crystal clear. Sometimes it can be obstructed. You get different views at night. We also have to then look at maybe zooming in, changing the resolution on the camera, but not enough to distort the image that will potentially be used in evidence, which isn't always easy.
Just need to find the right file now.
6 hours later, cameras pick up more movement outside the flat.
We've got this Mercedes. So this is 652-ish.
Okay.
And this shows, I think it's Patrick. He's got the same clothing, the same footwear, with somebody else.
It looks like the other guy.
He's got quite peculiar hair, to say the least.
Yeah. It's almost like a ponytail, yeah.
So that car drives off. Oh, what's he looking at?
Is he climbing?
He's climbing up on that scaffolding there.
Yeah.
The men appear to be attempting to gain entry to the building.
I was trying to keep my eye on this to see if I can see him getting on the roof. The fact that they're going up on the roof and everything like that, it's really suspicious behaviour, isn't it?
So what was up there?
Like there
4 minutes. And he's gone straight, like he's on his phone.
And then we see somebody else come. Seems certainly smaller in stature. That may be an indicator that they may be female. The individual goes into the entranceway and will join Patrick in this general area. So 07:07:48. This is when they're last in view.
All three are seen to finally enter the building after a neighbour buzzes them in.
So 10 minutes has gone now, and now we've got 3 people coming out. One's clearly got a big bag. So what's he got in that bag? We'll obviously have to try to identify who them people are. We may be able to do some links to associates.
This piece of evidence has really thrown this investigation wide open. We weren't expecting to see Patrick returning to the flat with 2 people. From the CCTV, you see one male climbing up the scaffolding. Well, why is he doing that? It seems to me like sheer desperation to get into that flat.
The priority now is to identify and locate the unknown people seen entering the flat on the night that Marlene was last seen alive. The new CCTV evidence is presented to Patrick in interview.
This investigation has been progressing and more information has come to light.
Presenting CCTV in an interview can be a turning point. It can be the point that they may start talking. It's hard for a suspect to be presented with CCTV. It's black and white, it's there in front of them. It's tough for them to hide behind.
What we do know is that Marlene was still alive on Saturday, the 15th of January. We have CCTV. We know that a male fitting your description leaves 9 minutes past midnight. Tell me about that. Where do you go then?
I can't remember. I was to go to the shop,
You go to the shop at midnight.
but I didn't get there because I realized I've got no money on me.
So you don't actually reach there because you
No.
have no money.
Yeah. And I've come back.
So you come back, yeah?
Yeah. And I couldn't get in.
Who are you with when you come back?
What's my own?
CCTV puts you with somebody else. You and another unidentified male approach the communal doors. Who was that person?
So maybe somebody was there, but I don't know the person.
You don't know them.
No.
You're only there 1 minute with this male, and then you leave. So where'd you go then?
I just gone somewhere, walking around there.
Sit for 6 hours?
Yeah.
You just walk around?
Yeah.
Oh, bullshit, come on. Marlene, your girlfriend, is dead. What's going on?
I did not kill her.
Please, for Marlene.
I not kill my future wife. Can we stop in here, please?
You want to stop?
Yeah.
Okay, we will stop.
Although Patrick is denying the involvement of others, CCTV analysis has provided Andy MacDonald with images he can try to match to the police database.
So I'm just going through the intelligence documents that we have in relation to Patrick to try to look for any of Patrick's associates. Let's have a look to see if we can see anything. Flipping hell. So inquiries that have been conducted have identified this person and Michael Larder. This person does have a very unique and distinct haircut. And unfortunately, the image that I've got is just of his face, so I can't see the back of his head. Seems to be shaved on the sides, quite high up. But certainly there's consistencies in the way this person's hairstyle is with that of the person on the CCTV footage. Their association to Patrick would appear to be there from the intelligence documents. He does have a partner, I think it is, that's Kinga Rybacker. So it could quite easily be that Kinga is that person that is with them. The sooner we get somebody in custody, if they are in fact involved in the offence, the more likely we can obtain further evidence before they have opportunity to dispose of anything.
A search begins for both suspects. In digital forensics, hundreds of messages and call logs have been recovered from Marlene's phone. Detectives can now use the CCTV timeline to analyse the crucial days leading up to her death.
Looking at this stream of messages, there seems to be a lot of missed calls being received by Marlene. They're from a contact called Moj Maz Patrick. You start to make me angry. This, to me, is because she's not answering his calls. Another message a few moments later. You push me to be stupid. She says lately we are always fighting each other instead of fighting our love for each other, and that can't happen anymore. You've built up hate, and day by day it has grown, and you've changed. You've pushed me further and further away. Now, what I can see, there's a message that states, I will finish this game. By saying I will finish this game, does he mean he will finish her? It doesn't tell us everything, but you would get the impression that Patrick is quite aggressive.
Next, the messages are searched for any sent in the critical time between Marlene entering the flat and her phone switching off on the 15th of January.
You can see messages from Patrick accusing Marlene of having affairs, and on the evening of the 15th of the 1st, Marlene messages an unknown number, and it just reads, "Hey Leon, it's Marlene, are you still on this number? Love and miss you." That could be taken the wrong way if read by a jealous partner. Doing some research on that number, it actually is one of Marlene's cousins. That message may be a trigger for what happened. At 23:49, Marlene's phone is actually powered down.
Okay.
But what we also know is that that phone's never been switched back on.
The evidence gathered from Marlene's phone includes a forensic analysis of her call logs in the final hour before her phone was powered off.
There's a call here, 23:01. Marlene's phone calls Hannah Skripinski, Patrick's mum, for a 54-second conversation. That in itself is quite unusual because, from what we gather, Hannah does not speak English.
We know from the family that Marlene doesn't speak Polish either.
No.
So that's an interesting conversation, is it, for 54 seconds? I mean, that has to be Patrick, doesn't it? Using Marlene's phone to ring his mum, I would say.
We found a text message which reads, "Love and miss you."
Has he seen that text message when he's picked up Marlene's phone?
If the detective's theory is correct, Patrick must have accessed Marlene's phone shortly before it was powered down, just an hour before he is seen fleeing the flat.
The phone work really helps the investigation. But I think for this case, it's not just one element of evidence, it's all of them together. The different parts of the jigsaw all point towards it being Patrick who's murdered Marlene.
The couple identified by CCTV analysis, Michael Larder and Kinga Rybatska, have been located and brought into custody.
Do you understand the allegation that's been made?
Not really.
Okay, somebody's committed a crime, okay, and that you've been part of helping that person commit that crime.
Ja w ogóle nie wiem, co ja tutaj robię w tym momencie.
All three suspects who police believe have assisted Patrick, Michael, Kinga, and his mum Hannah, are taken to give their accounts in interview.
At 23:01, Saturday night, there is a phone call between Marlene's phone number and your phone number.
That is the last phone call Marlene made.
Bez komentarzy, nie wiem. Ja nie umiem po angielsku.
Everyone is always interviewed separately. We're trying to use their account against each other to see if we can trip them up, get more evidence from what they've said. If we get conflicting information, then that definitely supports our case.
W sobotę siedziałam ze znajomymi i z moim partnerem. Oglądaliśmy walkę.
Kto tam jeszcze był?
Kolega razem ze swoją koleżanką poznaną z internetu. Piliśmy sobie, rozmawialiśmy i Patryk do nas przyjechał.
Patrick put some coke on himself.
Coke?
Yeah, and he asked if we can go with him to change the trousers or something like that.
Okay.
Więc próbował się dostać. W końcu się dostaliśmy. Poszliśmy na górę i Patryk poszedł się przebrać, a my czekaliśmy w przedpokoju.
Me and Kinga, we went on the corridor.
So when you've gone in on this occasion, you've just stayed within the hallway?
Yeah.
Yourself and Kinga? Right, okay.
And it was about 5 minutes and he came over in different trousers and we went back to Kinga's.
Okay. Was it that you knew what he'd done and you helped him return or go back to the flat to get something? To help him not get caught by police?
W życiu, jak ja bym miała, nigdy w życiu nie miałam nic wspólnego z prawem, z policją ani nic. Teraz nagle ja bym, jak gdybym wiedziała, to bym wzięła to jeszcze ukrywała.
The footage appears to show yourself with a bag of some sort.
Bag?
A bag. Michael, what's in that bag?
I don't know.
Michael, you haven't gone back there to change trousers, have you?
No, that's what he said to me. That's why we went there.
So we now have 4 suspects, each of them denying their involvement in this case. At least one of them is not telling us the truth. If they've not been in the bedroom, they couldn't have killed Marlene. But if they've assisted Patrick, equally what they've done is a heinous crime. So forensics are vitally important to work out what their roles were in this murder.
Rachel checks images of Patrick to confirm what he was wearing on the night of the murder.
They've just made off and they've got no care for her. They've made no attempt to call for any help. We've recovered items of clothing that we can see that the suspect is wearing on CCTV when Patrick exited that flat, namely a light-coloured hoodie and also like a khaki green jacket that was seen to be wearing that over the top of the hoodie.
The hoodie and jacket seen on CCTV match those seized from Patrick at the time of his arrest.
We've had results back from the lab with regards to that hoodie that we've sent off.
Okay.
Full DNA profiling has now been completed on Patrick's clothing.
So the hoodie itself, there was a spot of blood that has been detected on the outside. Just come back to Marlene.
OK, oh, brilliant.
There's also blood stain on there that's come back to Patrick as well. Which can be a manner of reasons, can't it? They live in the same household. If you've got a kind of a chaotic lifestyle and there's been incidences in the past, they could have both their blood on there. It's difficult to say. We can't assume as to how it's got there in those areas. In relationships where domestic violence has occurred, it isn't that uncommon to find that there's been several incidences there. You can sometimes find a trace of blood that's actually happened from a previous incident. The green jacket itself, there is blood that's come back to Marlene Doyle, which was actually on the inside lower back of the jacket.
Right, OK, interesting.
Yeah. There's also, on the outside lower back area, some blood stain that's come back to Patrick Skubinski.
Right, OK. So we've got blood on the green khaki jacket.
That's right.
On the inside,
yeah.
But we've got blood on the outside of the hoodie found in the spare room.
Yeah, yeah.
So was he wearing the hoodie when he murdered Marlene?
Yeah.
And then did he put that khaki jacket on in order to leave the flat?
It is quite unusual, isn't it, really? I would say the evidence speaks volumes because we haven't found anything that's identified another individual as being within the flat. That tells me that there were only 2 people in that flat when Marlene was murdered, and that was Marlene and Patrick. It's all pointing towards one individual as being responsible, which would be Patrick Skubinski.
Detectives tracked down one of the people present at Michael and Kinga's flat on the night Patrick was there and Marlene is believed to have been murdered. She is brought in for questioning.
You've been asked by the police to talk about attending an address in Coventry. Tell me about that.
Siedzieliśmy, rozmawialiśmy, piliśmy. Fajna atmosfera była. No i przyszedł. Nerwowe.
Okay. What happened then?
Chodził po tej kuchni, nie wiedział, co ze sobą zrobić. Krzyczał, że jak ona mi wkurwie, coś tam, no to nienormalny to nie był głos. Inga i jej partner, już nie pamiętam, czy rozmawiali, czy uciszali go i po jakimś tam szedł do kuchni i cały czas szeptali, cały czas.
I need to know what words he was saying.
Wiem, że tam na pewno mówił popierdolona szmata, mnie wkurwia. Dla mnie on był zdenerwowany po takiej kłótni z żoną, z dziewczyną po prostu.
The witness is taken to an ID parade.
If you'd like to take a seat there, please.
Detectives must confirm if the male she has described is in fact prime suspect, Patrick Skubinski.
I'd like to show you a video film which contains the images of 9 people, numbered 1 to 9.
Oh.
That's him. I understood that.
Andy meets with DI Adam Jobson to review all the evidence.
So, the significant witness.
She's possibly identified Patrick as the person who she describes as the nervous male.
So in terms of CCTV then?
So we've got the comings and goings of the offenders.
But we're happy that Kinga and Lada wouldn't have been in the flat at the time that incident's already taken place.
No, you're right. They're in there for 9 minutes, which again, when you talk about walking up the stairs, down the stairs, and everything that would have had to have happened in the flat, it's not a great deal of time. As you know, we didn't get a phone for Patrick. But the evidence from Marlene's phone in particular is damning. There's messages on her phone from Patrick to her which said, "I will finish this game." And that, for me, is like a clear threat. Yeah. We've got a text message from about 7:30 on the 15th from Marlene to her cousin, which says, "Are you still on this number? Miss and love you." We know Patrick is controlling, and I think that may be the point in which he's had red mist, has gone into the bedroom and has obviously murdered her. Patrick's had an argument with Marlene. He's got an abusive relationship with Marlene. He's got motive to kill her. You've got different strands of evidence, which when you put them together, it builds a really damning picture.
You're charged with an offence of murder. Okay, Michael, I'm going to charge you with an offence. You didn't have to say anything.
After reviewing all the evidence gathered, the Crown Prosecution Service agrees to charge Patrick Skupinski, along with the individuals who helped him.
She's been charged, assistant offender and remanded. It's tragic what's happened. Marlene died in a place where she felt safe and secure at the hands of someone she loved. So it's everything to get the right outcome, really. Crime scene coordinators, Rachel Hughes, how can I help?
Hi, Rach, it's Andy. I've just got a result from court.
Yeah.
All 4 guilty.
Oh, OK, that's really good. Hopefully it gives some comfort for the family then, won't it, really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other 3, none of them came in with suitcases of clothing expecting to go to jail, so I'm pleased with that.
Great, I appreciate you letting me know, Andy.
Without the use of forensics, on the whole, there's no way in which we'd have been able to provide such a compelling picture for the jury. This is a violent and brutal murder by Patrick Skupinski, who's a dangerous and violent man. I'm just glad we got the right result for Marlene and her family.